And I annotated like, ooh, flirty flirt, question mark. And then it went on. And I was like, flirty flirt. And then on the last page, I was like in all caps, flirty flirt, exclamation point.
You're listening to Getting Fae'd. We,
Lukas,
Lea,
and Meike are reading A Court of Thorns and Roses for the very first time. Today we're covering chapters 13 and 14. Get Fae'd with us!
woo!
How are you doing? How were the stars for you the last few weeks? Was the moon good? Are you doing okay? Crystals charged and everything?
Yes.
I guess.
I feel blessed, I guess. No, I don't know.
Are you a child of the blessed?
No.
No.
Wasn't there a comet or something just now? A few
over
weeks
Spain
ago?
and Portugal.
Oh yeah, right.
I think.
I didn't see it,
Yeah.
but I felt it. No, I didn't.
Cosmic charge charged up.
Yes.
Energy, nice now.
I feel energized by these nice chapters.
Well, what I wanted to say, what I wanted to introduce was like a cosmic vibe, because I found something very important on the internet. I saw an Instagram video. I did not remember who made it. So if you made a great Instagram video about your star sign and which character from ACOTAR belongs to it, thank you. You did a good job.
Reach out to us
I just patted your shoulder. I hope
and
you
we'll
felt
credit
that.
you.
So I know what character based on your star sign you are. Do you want to know?
Ooh, yes, please.
Okay.
But we know like 3 characters.
Yes.
That would fit with 3. We are 3 people.
Spoiler, we know only one character.
Well, okay.
Well, I saw the video and I thought I should click away. And then I thought, how bad can knowing a character's name be? Mm-hmm. And then I watched the video. And then I thought, okay, I don't know them. And then I thought, maybe we can make some prediction based on the name and maybe based on what we think a star sign means. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not very much into zodiac signs and like the whole law that comes with it.
Yes.
But I think it's funny, and I think we all know some stuff related to different zodiac signs.
I don't.
You
But
don't?
I know
Okay.
myself, so
I know myself too.
I can go from there, I
and
guess.
I know your star sign, Lukas. I think it's a very
Yeah.
controversial one.
So what is your star sign?
It's Gemini,
It's
Ooh.
the
Like
two-faced star sign.
like the acclaimed Will Smith movie from a couple of years ago, Gemini Man.
Gemini man. So yeah, you're a Gemini. So your character, I think her name is Ianthe. It's but
Sure.
Well, okay.
it's spelled Ianthe, which reads like Ian the, which I think is funny. But I think I would say it's Ianthe or
Ianthe.
Iante. I don't know.
Ianthe.
Whether you want to
it
pronounce
feels
the
kind of
TH or not.
Greeky,
Kind of what?
Greeky.
like Greek mythology
Oh, I
names.
thought I heard quirky.
I mean, I
That as
guess
well.
too.
I'm Ianthe the Quirky.
Do you think it's a female or a male name?
I have absolutely no idea. I hope, because it starts with an I, that it's the Fae version of Isaac.
He transforms.
Yeah, and I can get behind that.
So you want to be Isaac as a fae.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe this character is two-faced and kind of evil, if that's like the association people have with Gemini.
So do you feel comfortable with that? A two-faced evil person?
That's me. You know me.
Okay, moving on to you, Lea. You're a Leo, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I got it right. Give me your best Leo impression.
Rawr.
Awesome.
We're both sweet summer children.
So you are, drum roll please, another character we don't know called Morrigan.
Morrigan. I have encountered a fiction, not in this story, but
Okay.
a fictional character called Morrigan in Critical Role. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's a D&D show for those who don't. And it's a very powerful fey creature in that story. So
That's fitting.
In that story, she's like extremely creepy, but also nice a little bit. Could mean powerful. I don't know if that's an attribute of Leo's.
I guess. I mean, it's a lion, and a lion is powerful.
I am
Feels very majestic. You know, like the
Yeah.
king.
King of the animals, yeah.
Yeah, that's fitting for you, Lea.
Yeah.
Thanks, I know.
Okay, so Lukas, evil bitch, you very cool ruling something, and I, as a Virgo, It's me, your fox boy, Lucien.
No way.
Nice.
It made me way too happy.
I can see that.
But the thing is, a Virgo thing is that we're supposed to be very much like big perfectionists and very organized.
Okay.
And transferring that to Lucien doesn't kind of make sense, but maybe it means that in the future... Maybe it means that in the future he will actually become like this person who has to decide like where his loyalty lies, and then it will lie with me because we're Virgos united.
Virgo, together, strong.
But I think maybe we should start talking about...
2 chapters. Yeah, this has been a very chaotic intro, but I needed to share this.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. So last chapter we left off with a huge cliffhanger. Because Feyre's stomach twisted as Tamlin opened the door to the study. And it twisted because she saw books.
Dun, dun,
Same
dun.
girl, same. So yeah, they enter the study and Tamlin uses some magic to light candles. So he once again proves that he is still capable of using magic, even though the blight is affecting it.
I was a little bit taken aback by that because Feyre thinks like, oh my god, he's so powerful that he can lighten all these flames, so the blight must not have affected him that much. And I'm like, I feel like you've seen more powerful magic than this.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't know, maybe lighting a fire in this world is more complicated, but maybe I'm influenced by the Vampire Diaries or something, but it's like the first thing, or one of the first things the witch learns is to lighten a candle.
It feels very basic,
But
yeah.
it's not just one candle.
It's all of them.
It's a lot of candles.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds a bit funny that she's like, oh my god. But she doesn't know any magic. So
Yeah.
I guess if someone enters a room and just snaps its finger and everything lights up, that would be cool.
Yeah, she's just impressed by magic anyhow.
Yeah. Maybe that was just her tipping point of wow. And she comes to the same conclusion as we did. Like, if that's his weakened state, we wouldn't want to meet him before the blight.
Yes.
Yeah. So this study is actually more of a library. It's lined with books and huge bookshelves and couches and desks. And she's pretty much intimidated by it. And I think it makes sense. When you can't read, the sight of so many books is kind of intimidating. And she describes the tomes like soldiers of a silent army. And I think that sounded pretty cool, but it also makes sense because books have so much dead knowledge in a way. And it's like they're just sitting there and waiting to be used, like for good or evil, maybe. I think it was a pretty fitting description, and it sounded really cool.
And for her, it is a silent army because she can't read them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I think it just shows her appreciation for art, no matter the kind. Because she can't read, but she understands that reading is an art form of itself, like painting.
And also maybe bookbinding, because they're described as leather tomes and such, but I imagine them being very like pretty and refined and ordained, because they're expensive and valuable pieces. So
It must smell so good in there.
I have thoughts.
About the smell?
I don't know if I should go, because she says something about that later. I don't know if we should.
Oh, she does.
Yes.
Didn't care.
Should we go there now?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just one sentence. She says, I hated the smell of these books. And I was like, what? Woman, how dare you? I was so disappointed and angry. I drew a little angry smiley. Old books smell so nice.
But they are really, really old books, maybe.
Yeah, she describes like they're kind of
Rotten.
rotting or something, but they're still old books, so they probably smell good. I mean, it's still a functioning library. It's not like they're abandoned and rotting in some cellar that is wet.
Okay. I have to admit, I don't have such strong feelings about the smell of books.
You don't smell your books?
I love
I
smelling
mean,
books.
I like freshly printed book smell.
I like old
Some
books
smell
better.
weird, but some smell really good.
You know,
Or like a magazine that's freshly printed.
no, they
that's way
stink.
too chemical.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, you do you, but it's not like the smell of books.
No, but it's like a printed smell.
Maybe Feyre is more of a fan of a freshly printed Vogue or something.
You know, I'm currently spending a lot of time in a library for university, and sometimes I'm just wandering through the shelves and just taking the smell. I'm not taking books out and smelling them, but I'm
just
like...
imagining like the employees closing the library at night, and then I go through the bookshelves and catch Lea sitting there sniffing the books.
It hasn't come that far yet, but we will see.
So we find out why Feyre can't read, and it made me so angry, because we thought in the last episode that she can't read because they lost everything they had when she was super young, so she probably didn't have a teacher or something. But it's because her mother didn't care.
Yeah.
She says her mother, even when they had wealth, didn't care about education and stuff, so she doesn't even...
Yeah, she didn't bother to hire a governess.
Yeah.
But then I was confused, because she describes how Elaine and Nesta are able to read and write, and then didn't allow Feyre to go to the lonely village school because that's beneath them or something. And I was confused if the mother didn't hire a governess. How did they learn?
Maybe because they are older, they learned because they had to. Maybe they had at some point a tutor, because it's just, I think when you have a noble upbringing and you can't read, that's a disadvantage. So maybe at some point someone was like, teach those girls a bit. And then with her third child, she just didn't care. She was like, oh, 2 can read. That's enough.
Her mom sucked.
Terrible family.
Or maybe her mom sucks. Present tense. Because this kind of expands the theory of her mom being alive to her mom is alive and is a villain.
This sort of made me think she's not a fairy or fae, because it feels like, I don't know, for me, fae society feels like they have art and they have knowledge and they know basically everything because they're immortal. And having a child that cannot read sounds kind of inappropriate for fae people. But then maybe I thought she tried to keep knowledge from her because she didn't want to find something out. But then again, how would she? I don't think her mother would have books lying around saying, when I was 1,490 years old, I fucked some mortal man just to create the ultimate weapon. The ultimate weapon.
Yeah, but I also think, like, if this whole plan to conceive Feyre was a plan, then it also wouldn't benefit them to not educate her. It also, like, if it was their plan to conceive this special child, why wouldn't the first 2 children fit? Like, why do they need 3 children?
Yeah, that's true.
We can just conclude that she sucks either way.
Yeah, she does. So we find out that Feyre wants to learn how to read and write so she can write a letter to her family and tell them about everything going on with the blight.
Feyre is still willing to risk it for the biscuit, even if the biscuit is as stupid as family.
I mean, there is some evil thing, some magical evil thing coming their way, and she just wants to let them know, well, guys, watch out maybe.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable, or it would even be a reasonable request to go to Tamlin and say, hey, I'd like to let them know that I'm all right and they don't have to worry about me. But yeah, she wants to hide the information of the blight somewhere in there. And I was like, what makes you think they wouldn't read the letter if you hand it to them and go like, please send this? Because she doesn't know how the post system works there. She probably hasn't encountered a postman or something.
I guess she just wants to cross that bridge when she gets there, but maybe think about that.
Yeah, she even mentions she has to be careful so no one thinks she's a spy or something. But then, like, they're gonna read your letter.
Yeah, but she also, as Lukas said, she thinks, yeah, I'm dealing with that problem when I get there.
Yeah, and getting there takes some time. Her learning process is very slow and kind of frustrating because she tries to learn with kids' books and then, like, copies words she doesn't know and then later tries to find out how to pronounce them. And I feel like that's not a very beneficial.
Yes.
But that's how you learn when you don't have a tutor.
Well, I had thoughts about that because she is able very clunkily to read a little bit and she makes a list of words.
Position, for example.
Yeah. And then I was like, why don't you look for words that you use in your daily language? Like, why would she look for words that she doesn't know how to pronounce?
Well, maybe the problem is that she doesn't know how to read some of the words. Like, she doesn't have the connection between written words and ways to say them. I feel like she knows the word position. She just doesn't know that the written word position means position.
Well, that makes sense.
Well, this
yes.
is so hard to explain, but I think for her it is like position or something. And obviously maybe she doesn't know what position is supposed to mean. So that's why she's trying to look up what it means.
Okay, yes.
She's in a very poor position.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously good for her.
Yes.
I really like that she takes the effort to teach herself how to read. You go.
Girl.
Why do you think Tamlin has kids' books in his study?
That was another thing.
I mean, I guess he used to be a kid.
I think it's there to show us that he is #father material.
For whom, though? Feyre or Feyre's babies?
I
Both.
feel like currently, unfortunately, more Feyre's babies.
Yeah, same.
Maybe these kids' books are just remnants of the previous experiments that tried to breed the cure.
Oh, boy.
Oh my god. This is turning into some weird angle.
Maybe he had kids in the past. I mean, he's pretty old.
Or maybe they died and that's why he's grumpy all the time.
Aww.
But I mean, if Feyre actually falls for him, I feel like we have to get some sort of insanely tragic backstory that kind of gives us a reason as to why he's so Tamlin.
Well, it's because he doesn't want all this.
Oh, that's his tragic backstory, okay.
On that note, I mean, we know he was a child once and had a relationship with his father, who was a sort of warlord. Mm-hmm. So they're probably not necessarily his books. Like, if these books are ancient and have been here for a long time, yeah. Or maybe they were... you know?
No, Lea, I don't.
You know, then they would belong to a different child if he didn't grow up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he grew up in, the war camp.
I don't know if
the
he
training.
grew up there,
Yeah.
but he spent a lot of time there.
But I mean, the court used to be, inhabited by a lot of other people.
Yes.
So maybe some other fairy family had little fairy children reading fairy books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they all were sent to fight in the war.
No, they left because they hated having a mask stuck on. I mean, isn't that what they did?
No, they were all sent to the wall.
Not all of them.
I think so.
Didn't Tamlin say most of them left because they lost hope in Tamlin?
I think so. I think
they?
it's like a mixture of both. Like some left, some were sent to the war camp thingy, and then 2 people stayed, Lucien and Tamlin.
That's so sad.
Oh, and Andras.
Later on, Feyre takes a break, I guess, and she wanders off through the library to maybe search for new books or something, and she finds a painting. No, not a painting. A mural.
Oh.
And she's very intense about it.
Did you not know what a mural was?
No, so...
You asked me and I told you.
Yes. Wait a minute. I now know what a mural is, but I misinterpreted the sentence, not a painting,
Okay.
because I was she was, oh no, fuck, there's a painting.
What?
And I thought she meant, oh no, not a painting, it will distract me from my work.
Okay. Maybe it's like for her when you have your phone lying next to you when you're working and you go like, oh no,
I got a
phone.
message.
Oh, I have to look.
Maybe that's what she meant.
That's such a funny thought. She just wanders through the library and then she goes like, oh, a book. Oh no, a painting. And it calls to her and she gets drawn to it ah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, you were wrong.
Well, it's a very extensive, elaborate mural. And I like the word mural. It's not just the painting, but like this
So much more.
whole wall piece, probably. I don't know.
I imagine as it's pretty big.
I have to think of the Sistines Chapel. Is that how you say the name?
I don't know.
It's not the 16th chapel, but like with the whole mural on the ceiling.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the creation of Adam.
yeah,
Isn't
kind
it?
of. It basically is the creation of Adam.
It's this world's version of the creation myth,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
we get another fangirling moment, but this time it's actually like big time law drop because we get the creation story of the lands.
And it's very
And
cool.
that's pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
thought that part of the chapter was so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really liked it. It's like a cutscene in a video game where you like find a painting and then you look at it and then it becomes animated and shows you like the story.
Oh, yes.
I think like Legend of Zelda, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Is that
Yeah.
the second one? Yeah, they did it a lot and it's always pretty cool. But yeah, the mural tells us the story of how Prythian was made. And not just Prythian, but basically the whole world in which the story takes place. And it all starts with the mighty black cauldron.
Hey! Finally!
Yes.
An answer.
And a female hand tips the cauldron over and spills the entirety of the world on the earth. So God is a woman.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. That means there's an even higher being or entity that made the creation happen.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. And I also wondered if maybe that being is like an actual thing and is still around. And maybe that's what she is.
Oh.
I think that's a possibility, but it also would like ground her a lot. Like I feel like right now, like these hands and what comes with it is such a mystified, ominous, all-powerful, probably all-knowing being. And if that's just a woman walking around, I mean, that would be one powerful woman, but
Yeah, maybe she's just power. And the mural just uses like the symbol of hands, like to give her something to hold the cauldron. But she is not actually like a human-like person.
Yeah.
And has hands.
yeah, I think that would even combat this feeling of grounding her if she doesn't have a human form and
Yeah.
just like a being of light or something. I don't know.
This, I guess I'm going to call it life essence inside of the cauldron, consists of like symbols, which Feyre thinks might be Fae language, old Fae language. But it could also be just like runes, like something that makes magic happen. So maybe she basically spilled magic over the planet.
Ah, yes.
Oopsie.
Spell
some of it.
my magic. Oops, created a world. Well,
Yeah,
I
this
hate when that happens.
cauldron symbol goo then forms everything, and not just Fae territory, but everything. And then that reminds Feyre that once everything belonged to the Fae, which is pretty cool.
but also, well, the mortals were enslaved, so not so cool.
It doesn't mention any humans in this mural, but it also, like in this creation process, it doesn't mention any Fae. So it kind of only mentions how the lands were made and not how Fae and humans and all the other creatures were made. So we don't really know yet where Fae, fairies, and humans come from. Like, do they come from the same place and then evolution made them different, or are they actually different people? We don't know yet, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that would imply that if this creation story was real, that they are equal because they have both been created from the rune goo.
Yeah. And this whole rune goo story is what I knew from the other book. So that's
okay.
when I said I kind of know about the cauldron. I knew about like a planet being made by tipping over the cauldron.
So now we know it's not like a governing body that deals out
Yeah.
orders that are to be fulfilled, but it's more like, as we kind of suspected, this religious thing that, of course, can have orders attached to it, but yeah.
And it's not hell, like
No.
we maybe
No.
thought. It's just the creation.
Kind of cool. It's a cool origin story for
Yeah, I
world.
like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
having something tip over and then form something naturally, I guess. The next panel then shows the war between Fae and humans and how thousands of them, humans, are being slaughtered. Nice.
Yeah, I felt like she described that very vividly, and I liked that. And Feyre identifies with these human soldiers, and that made it very immersive.
Yeah, she says she feels like standing between them, fighting.
She actually like felt like she was on that battlefield. And that's some good art.
Very immersive.
Yes.
Did you ever have a moment like that while looking at art?
Well, art is not just paintings, I guess. So movies can be very, very immersive. And then pen and paper role-playing games can also be very immersive. Yeah, but I never looked at a painting and was like, damn, I'm in there.
Well, recently I was inside of a tennis ball and that was very immersive.
Yes.
We all went to watch Challengers together, the new movie. Spoilers, I guess.
There's a POV of a tennis ball.
And it's amazing.
Amazing.
Yes.
It was what I needed, I think. I never thought I could feel so immersed by a tennis ball. But when I flew across the clay court, here we are again. When I flew across the court and I was a tennis ball, that was, wow.
Also a movie, though, not a painting.
No.
Yeah.
A special movie.
Special.
But I feel like back then in the olden days where there were no moving pictures, I guess maybe a painting hit more. Because in our world we are like so oversaturated with images everywhere and also moving images, which is like a step above. And I feel like if I was living in the Middle Ages, a painting might have a greater effect on me.
I feel the bigger the painting, the more immersive it feels.
Yes.
Maybe that is because it resembles a movie screen. I feel like when you stand in front of a very big thing, you kind of feel like you're standing in front of it. And if it's smaller, like just paper-sized, it's just like a small thing you look at from above or maybe from the side. But if it's right in front of you, you have this frontal view and then it just feels like you're in front of it. And if it's cool, you kind of feel like you're inside of it.
Yeah.
But when I think of immersive paintings, I think of Super Mario 64, where you literally go into the painting and are in another world.
Yeah.
I feel like that's exactly what Sarah J. Maas was referencing here.
Probably. The next panel then shows us how the land is now, after the war and after the treaty, I guess, divided by the wall. And we find out that the continent, which we are not on, is actually very cramped. Like the Fae realm in that continent is kind of cramped because it had to adjust all the high Fae that lost lands to like the now mortal lands have to fit into the northern lands, which is interesting. Because who decided where the wall would go?
That's a good question.
It feels like they gave a lot of lands to the humans and kind of lost a lot.
It's just another question about the wall that we don't know. And
Show me this wall.
I feel like Feyre reacts kind of compassionately when she sees how they had to give up their territories and are now crammed together. On the one hand, it makes you like emphasize with the situation, but on the other hand, it's a bit weird to be like, oh, how sad. They had to give the people that they enslaved their own territory. Boo-hoo. That's a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, Prithian got off pretty nicely compared to the like whole main continent, I guess, because like humans only have this small portion of the southern lands. And then there's another court or kingdom, as she calls it, to the west, which I guess is Highburn. In
Which we saw on the map.
yeah, our island thingy,
Yes.
which did not lose any of its like territory to
Good
the
for
humans.
them, I guess.
We later find out a bit more about Highburn, which makes it seem as a very nice place, but we'll come to that. Then we see like all the other different courts, with Night Court being depicted as very evil and dark, and it has like little eyes and gleaming teeth coming out of like the mountain ranges and stuff, which sounds a nice place.
Terrifying, but pretty cool.
Yeah, she
I want to go there.
I think it's funny that Spring has like little lamps and the Night Court has monsters and dark eyes and claws.
Yeah, she describes it as a land of lethal beauty.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Night Court being like always dark, and that's kind of sad. But now I also imagine like maybe it is full of polar lights or something.
That would
just
be so
makes
nice.
it so beautiful, but also lethal and dangerous at the same time.
She also goes like, oh, I knew never to go north. And I felt that was very Game of Thrones coded.
Yeah.
And also foreshadowing, maybe.
She probably will go
yeah,
north.
after
What?
she said
You
that.
think? Nah, I think she will just stay here forever.
Probably.
The rest of the book series is just her living there and having like a fun sitcom life with Tamlin and Lucien.
And then in the center, which I guess must be this under the mountain section we saw on the map, is where the Cauldron's liquid touched first, and there's like a huge mountain range. And that made me wonder how much of that map we have at the beginning of the book is what an actual map in Prithian would show, and how much of it is something that we as a reader get as information. Because she doesn't mention that this whole central part of the map is like marked as something special. It just appears to be special because like right in the middle there is this mountain range, but it doesn't say anything. But for us, it says under the mountain. So is that a spoiler that it's supposed to be a place where we go and there is something under the mountain?
She also describes this mountain as bald of snow, bald of life. So even though it's higher than the other mountains, it's not touched by snow.
As if the elements refuse to touch it.
Yes.
Maybe the magic is strongest there.
Yes, exactly. I had some sort of theory according to that, because I was
here we
thinking,
go. Conspiracy corner.
We know there's something under the mountain because of the map, and I thought maybe there's some geothermal activity. If there's like lava or magma, I don't know which one is which. That one that's still inside is in there, then that would warm the mountain so that the snow might not stay on there. And then I was like, this could be connected to magic, either because there's this geothermal activity, the magic is strong and special there, or because the magic is strong and special there, this geothermal activity might be produced. I don't know.
Maybe the creation is still going on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe that's how Fae are born.
Inside of the mountain?
Yeah.
And if, I'm just thinking of this now, if the magic comes from there, then maybe the blight that messes with the magic has its origin there. And that's why they have to go there to like fix the problem.
And dispose of the ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw it into the lava.
I did have a lot of Hobbit and Lord of the Rings associations. Especially it's described as like this solitary mountain, and like in The Hobbit it's the lonely mountain, described as a single solitary peak, but because it's not a single peak in here, I was like, okay, it's not exactly the same. So yeah.
This peak is in a loving relationship
With all his little baby peaks.
Boo! This was me, Tamlin, sneaking up on you.
What a transition.
You creep! Why do you always do this?
I hate him for this. I mean, like, he always does this. The first time, okay, he's fairy, he has superior senses, maybe he didn't know better. But every time he does it, he has to do it on purpose, just to feel cool.
I mean, he probably doesn't sneak on purpose. I think he's just quiet. But if he were polite, then he would announce himself.
Do you guys know these Instagram videos where partners take a video of their significant other and are like, they hate being spooked or something? And I'm trying to not spook them, but then they show a video of like the partner having headphones on and just singing very loudly. And they're like, hey, sorry, not to disturb you. And they wave their arms. And the other one doesn't notice anything. And then they turn around and go like, why would you spook me like that?
Yeah, so if he was a loving person who is concerned about Feyre, he would try to not startle her. But he is not.
He is not. And that's why they begin to fight.
Finally.
Because Feyre is done with his bullshit.
Yeah.
And I thought, do I start liking Feyre now? Because I actually kind of liked her in that conversation.
She was very real.
Yeah, I was very happy that she was standing up to him because, you know, he's pissed again that she doesn't want his company.
And he's so jealous.
Yeah. And she says the thing that we have been saying about Lucien the whole time. So he's like, why do you want to spend time with Lucien but not with me? And she's like, Lucien doesn't pretend to be anything but what he is. And I'm like, yes, that's what we have been saying. You idiot. Why
Feyre,
don't you know this?
come on the pod. I really like that Feyre recognizes that he's an ass. And by extent, that also means that the book recognizes that he's an ass. And I mean, we had this fear that this character is just there and then is redeemed at some point in the love interest. But I like that Sarah J. Maas knows that she's writing an asshole.
But for once, it doesn't break down to him being Fae. I think for the first few chapters, everything she hated about him was him being Fae and her not liking Fae. But in this fight, she's just telling him that he is not real and not honest with her, so she cannot trust him. And all he has to say is, well, you're not what I expected for a human as well. Which doesn't make any sense. She's not like, well, I don't like you because you're Fae. She's like, I don't like you because you're weird to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're human.
That's It's also such a weird response. And I think her reaction is very valid. She's like, bruh, and just leaves him there.
Yeah. Good job.
Queen.
And then when she comes back, her books are out of order and her little list of words she doesn't know is gone.
Spying boy.
And she thinks maybe like a servant rearranged them.
Nope.
But I think it was Tamlin.
Yeah.
And I have this fear inside of me that he took the list to like give it to her at some point because he like figured out a way to make it easier for her to maybe learn these words and know how to write them and what they mean. And I don't want that. Because she said, no, bro, I don't want your help. So he should say the fuck out of it.
I feel like this is a love story in the making, obviously. And that he's not going to really reflect on the way he is acting towards her right now, but that he just does nice things that weigh up the positive ones. And I feel like we have to remind ourselves that this is a fictional character, and if someone who reads this likes this and is like, yeah, this is my fantasy, that this is a brooding person who doesn't know how to deal with people, and then he learns it because I teach him that. I think we should respect that some people might like that fantasy, and I just wanted to express that it is valid if you like him, and we don't know what will become of him. But I feel like I have this more with Lucien right now, that I am willing to forgive him things that I wouldn't be willing to forgive in a real person.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But I fear that what Feyre didn't see was the giant red flag hanging opposite the mural.
Yeah.
If she just had turned around.
And also, we get an explanation why she feels for Tamlin in his position.
Don't you mean position?
Position?
She says, like, he knows what it's like to bear the weight of caring for others. And I like that it's not just pity, but that she sees, at least in this regard, a somewhat equal in him. And that makes it more bearable for me.
Yeah, totally. I feel like in some romance books or fantasy books, you are stuck wondering, why do they like each other? Like, okay, they're described as very attractive. Maybe they have money.
That's enough.
Is that it? Like, why do they get together? I feel like in so many books, they don't really have anything in common, or maybe not at the beginning. You know, you fall for a person because you like who they are, but in a lot of books, you don't know who they are, and then they fall in love, and maybe in the end, you find out, oh, they're actually cool. But I would like to know that before starting a very intimate book-boyfriend relationship, okay?
Yes.
But still, I'm more rooting for Feyre and Lucien to come together.
Yeah, speaking of Lucien and Feyre doing whatnot, there's a little break in the chapter, and it starts with 20 minutes later, I had tracked down Lucien in his bedroom.
Ooh
la la.
What are you doing there?
Do you hear that sizzling?
She knocks, and he tells her, like, human, enter. And she wonders if his eye maybe can see through the door.
Mad-Eye Moody, is it you?
Maybe his eye can see through things.
Maybe.
That would be
No,
pretty
I
metal.
think she's right with her thought that he just heard her breathing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's both.
Or maybe he smells her.
Anyways, his interior design fits his vibe, and I
Yeah.
love it. Do you think he designed that himself?
Probably.
I was thinking, like, they're described as kind of autumn colors.
Yep, that's what I wrote down too.
And I don't really think that is the case. But is he maybe from Autumn Court?
I thought the same thing too. And maybe it actually makes sense because he says he lost an eye because he said something he shouldn't have said. So maybe he used to work for Autumn King, Lord, Boy, whatever.
Lord, yeah.
And they took his eye. And then Tamlin, who maybe was his friend because they had social gatherings or something, took him in. And now
Maybe.
he designed his room to remind him of home.
That's what I thought.
He has, I feel like a fox fits very much
Yes.
into like this autumny thingy.
Orange, brown, very foxish. Also, his room is described as marked with ruggedness. What is that supposed to mean? I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't take good care of his stuff. Like maybe he puts his boots on the couch, and maybe he...
On the couch? I thought you might say laying around. Nope, on the couch.
Always going to the extreme. And maybe he, like, throws weapons carelessly on, like, tables and they get chipped a bit in something.
Yeah, I also think it just means it's kind of untidy, but in a manly way.
Yeah. Like, it's not messy, because that would be disgusting, but it's, like, a cool chaos. He just doesn't want to clean, and she finds it hot.
Yeah. Also, it's just like a man cave. There's like a table kicker and a dartboard in the corner.
He has a table with various weapons upon it, which is kind of awesome. I have to say, if I went to a room, I'll probably, if it wasn't real life and I went into a room and there was a dude with a million weapons, that's probably a bit
much.
But like, there's a thing between reality and fantasy in my mind that's pretty awesome.
And at least he takes good care of his weapons.
He's cleaning them, right?
He's rubbing his long sword.
Should I read out loud how he's described sitting there at his table? Because I thought that was very amazing. It was there he sat, wearing only a white shirt and trousers, his red hair unbound and gleaming like liquid fire. Damn! That sentence did something to me, guys.
Was this your tennis ball?
Yes. You know, these white Regency shirts. Damn.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I guess.
Of course, you wouldn't
I
understand.
have to think to a very specific movie scene.
Are we talking Narnia?
Yes.
Yes.
And Lucas
What?
knows this scene. You should remember it.
Oh, Ben Barnes?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In Narnia, what is his name? Not his name, the name of the movie.
Something
Dawn
Trader.
Trader's Voyage or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
When he captures them from the water and he's raised up and he's wearing his white shirt that is wet and clinging to his body. And we were watching it, all three of us, and Lucas was sitting between us and he was talking, and both of us, we were like, shut up, you have to watch now!
It was peak cinema.
That was your tennis ball.
I guess I just don't feel as strongly about white shirts as you do.
But it's not like a white t-shirt.
But I respect it.
A white t-shirt doesn't have the same flair.
Yeah, but I guess Tamlin doesn't respect him for his hot white shirt, because apparently he scolded him for spending time with Feyre. I mean, Lucien says Feyre got under his fur, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
But apparently Tam went in there and tried to rip his head off out of jealousy.
That is so bad.
Makes me wonder how strong their friendship is. If they even have a friendship. We don't really know yet.
He still makes fun of it. Like, oh, you got under Tam's fur.
I think it's more of a respect that Lucien has towards Tam, and maybe not so much the other way around. I still think Tam does respect Lucien, but in a, okay, I need you and you are serving me kind of way, and not in a, you are my best friend and we are equals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lucien kind of appreciates that Feyre likes him, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like there is quite a relationship born between them.
I think it will be more of a friendship, though. I would like Lucien as her partner more than Tamlin, but so far it kind of feels like two people that can be just very respectful with each other and have like an actual friendship that does not have to be romantic.
Nah, that doesn't work.
I have to say I want it to be different, but I guess I would accept it too. But I also wanted to say that Tamlin goes to Lucien and confronts him and is like, this is my girl, fuck off, blah, 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 blah. It's very desperate. You know?
Just not cool.
No.
Yeah, but then they have a kind of a long talk. It goes over a few pages. I think this is a very flirty talk.
Yeah, kind of.
It starts kind of flirty, and then I felt it became flirtier and flirtier, because it started and I annotated like, ooh, flirty flirt, question mark? And then it went on, and I was like, flirty flirt. And then on the last page, I was like in all caps, flirty flirt, exclamation point.
I think we found our cold open.
Yeah. And then I put in parentheses, yay.
Yeah. The way he talks about dead chickens. Hot.
Well, Feyre's mission to talk to Lucien is not to do what Tamlin might think they're doing. She just very subtly wants to find out how she can find the Suriel.
If someone were to try and capture a Suriel, how would they do it? And she takes out a notebook.
But I think that is why it feels so flirty to me, because the whole time they're speaking in hypotheticals. And he's like, I mean, if I was on a hunt, then I would hear if someone would be in danger. But I mean, since you're not going out, that won't happen or something. And I'm like, they're so close already.
The fact that she can go to his room and be like, okay, we know what I want. I'm not going to say it, but by not saying it, I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I feel like if she would say that to Tamlin, that would be incredibly dangerous. But she can just go to Lucien and talk to him funnily about something kind of scary and dangerous. And he does not tell her, no, don't go and don't eat on your way there. He doesn't stop her. I think he doesn't want her dead at this point in the story anymore. But he lets her go because he thinks maybe she can do it. And it's important for her.
And also he actively helps her. He's like, I will be there listening if you get in danger. He says, okay, you need your bow to have a weapon, and here you can have my knife.
And they don't like water, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the knife part is pretty interesting, because I feel like someone giving another person a weapon, often like a knife or like a dagger, is somewhat significant.
Yes. I also thought this is like kind of a slight prediction, not a like whole prediction, that this act of giving her his knife might be Lucien's downfall in some way. Because if Feyre is caught with the Suriel, or like saved from the Suriel by Tamlin, and she is found having Lucien's knife, that might be bad for Lucien.
Yep, I think you're right.
What I will say, it kind of feels like Lucien is just pranking her. He's like, yeah, and you have to go to these birch trees, and also they like dead chickens. And then she just takes the dead chicken and goes there, and Lucien is waiting with his camera ready. Capture her.
Yeah, his description: the western woods, young birch trees, slaughtered chicken, double loop snare, close to running water. Feels like a very good joke or a very good description.
I mean, we're entering chapter 14 territory here, but that is exactly what she's wondering. Like, if he was just messing with her and like leading her to her death. But I feel the way she is questioning these things doesn't make it feel at all like untrue to me.
No, at no point it feels like she is thinking about turning around or something. Or she's like, maybe I should take another precaution, talk to someone else or something. She's just like walking there and it's like, what if I'm walking into a trap? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I think we're entering chapter 14 now. Is that okay?
Wow.
All right. She's walking to the western woods, trying to find birch trees, which are evil trees, because I'm allergic to them. So it feels very fitting for evil fairies to live there.
If you were to try and capture a Suriel, Meike, you just couldn't see anything because your eyes are so swollen, and you would make loud sneezing noises.
I think allergy medication would work well. During her walk, she encounters no monsters, but sees mermaids? ?
I was wondering the same thing, because she's passing a pond and then she sees 4 shining female heads. And I was like, mere people?
That
Sounded
was
like it.
strange.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess.
Maybe we'll find out more about them. I like that she took her time to appreciate the significance of her, a human, being in this ancient old forest.
Yes.
And she didn't look at it very dangerously, like she wasn't, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. But she's like, probably no human eye has seen this, but I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty dope. And I like that. She's feeling appreciative of what she gets to experience, even though why she's experiencing it, kidnapping, is bad.
Yeah, I feel the same. And you can really feel how ancient and alive and untamed this forest is.
Feels very magical.
Also, this chapter feels very much like returning to our roots. It has a lot of like chapter 1 elements.
Going
She's
full
hunting
circle.
in the woods
She uses
alone.
her skills.
Yes,
And I like that.
She uses her strength and she's actively driving the plot forward because she's trying to achieve something.
Yeah.
Actively.
She has a goal and she's going for it.
Yes. And
Good
but
for
it's
her.
also not as depressing as the first chapter because it's not winter and she's freezing her ass off and starving, but she's like in a untamed wild but kind of nice forest.
Yeah, it feels almost like a natural progression. Like
Yeah.
after winter comes spring, and now she's
Yeah.
sitting on a tree again, trying to hunt something again. But this time, again, to kind of provide for her family. This time with information, sort of, about the blight and the magic danger coming.
Yeah, and she kind of upgraded because in the first chapter she did without knowing Hunter Fae, and now she's like actively seeking out.
And she's
a
not
fairy.
prepared at all.
Well, she does know how to.
Yeah, well, but then she has trapped it, and what if it was very, very dangerous? What would she do? Just run? I mean,
Yeah,
Lucien
across
told
the
her
water.
how to run from it, but it he didn't tell her anything about how, like, the being itself is.
Well, I guess no, but he told her how to
She's
escape
just going
it.
with the flow, which is fine.
Yeah.
I felt like she had a solid plan.
Yeah, better than her plans before.
Yes.
At least. And her plan works. It was a good plan. If it works, it was a good plan. And she traps the Suriel. And I
Yeah.
love how she goes down the tree. Like the sentence it describes, she's like, I went to meet the Suriel. And it sounds so friendly. She's like, oh, I'm going down there and we're going to shake hands and we're going to be friends.
But I like how she attracts a Suriel. It says she laid her snare, and that means she built a drum set and
I knew
played a
you were
nice
going for
groove.
this.
And I'm imagining she's playing the drum fill of In the Air Tonight, then the Suriel is a huge fan and comes running.
Yup.
The Suriel is a tall, thin, veiled figure. It has robes on and grey skin and yellow fingernails and like dry, stick-to-your-bone skin. And my mind immediately went to E.T.,
But in big.
but in very big, yeah.
Honestly, the Suriel is kind of exactly how I imagined it.
I didn't actually have a picture in mind before it was described.
I think because they have this distinction between Fae, which look human, and Faeries, my mind always goes to little fluttery
Yeah.
things when they talk about fairies. And this book has made it clear that fairies are not little fluttery things. But the whole time she talked about Suriel, I was wondering if they are these little tiny creatures flying around and they talk in a very high-pitched voice and make fun of you, something
I think
like that.
I also thought of a small creature. But I wanted to add before Feyre captures the Suriel announces itself with ripples of silence. And I think that sounds pretty unique and cool.
Also hungry, wheezy sniffs, which reminds me
Yeah.
of you when you're sick and hungry.
Okay. And also the description how she actually captures the Suriel is pretty cool. Another enraged shriek pierced the forest, and my snares groaned as they held and held and held. I like how this emphasizes how successful she is.
She also uses her Sarah J. Maas trademark sentence, which you will encounter a lot, judging by all the other books I read. Because when another character gets scared, their bowels turn watery,
I guess.
which is a funny saying.
Yeah. Do you know what the Suriel reminds me of? Have you seen the movie Pan's Labyrinth?
Yes.
I just imagined this thing that has no eyes and puts the eyes in its hands and is this scary thing, which has also this disgusting white dead skin. And I kind of like that vibe. I feel like for the first time I understood what kind of horror vibe Sarah J. Maas is going for, and I think it's that. So if they're doing a movie, hire Guillermo del Toro.
And Doug Jones. Doug Jones is the Suriel. So the Suriel asks Feyre who it was that told her how to capture them.
It was Nesta!
Yeah, but Feyre lies and tells her her mother told her stories. And I think this is a very interesting lie. Because first, there might be some deeper meaning behind it. What is going on with her mother? Ooh, as we have speculated a lot here. But also, she just uses what she has been talking about over the last few days. Because Tamlin was like, hasn't your mother told you anything? And it feels like she is reminding or she is remembering what she has been talking about. And it's like, yep, this is a good lie.
But it's not good enough, because apparently the Suriel can sniff out lies.
But she also doesn't know the truth. So Feyre has not thrown Lucien under the bus yet. should we just go through all the information that we get from the Suriel?
Question 1 is what's been the main mission the whole time? Is there a loophole out of the treaty? And the answer is pretty disappointing for Feyre. Nope. Unless you want to die.
Disappointing for her, but I'm glad to hear it because
Yeah.
I don't really want to see her just going back. I want her to venture forward into the fairy lands.
I also hope this time she accepts it, but also she is kind of braced for this answer, and she was like, yeah, I kind of expected it, but she wanted to try anyways, and I can respect that too.
Then her question 2 is, what do you know about Tamlin? And I think I like the fact that the Suriel is not like usually a djinn or something, where you have to ask very precise questions to get some kind of an answer out of them. Because the Suriel is like, well, you have to be a bit more specific to find out about the High Lord of the Spring Court.
Yeah.
And, well, I was surprised because I thought we knew that Tamlin is High Lord of the Spring Court. I thought he was. And then in the last chapter, Feyre is like, I wonder who the High Lord of the Spring Court is. And I was like, well, isn't it Tamlin? Apparently,
is.
she didn't think so, but apparently Tamlin is High Lord of Spring Court.
Yeah, I like
Good
that we
for
have
him.
the confirmation
Yeah.
now. I think it was our first instinct to think that he is the High Lord, because what else should he be? And then Feyre doubts it so many times and thinks about who might the people over him be and such. And so I was like, so I guess he's not, if I'm following this book correctly. And now he is. And I was like, oh my God, he is, forgetting that I actually assumed that he was.
So
She
I
gaslit
guess
you.
the
Yes.
plot twist worked by gaslighting.
Yes.
Great
Nicely
concept.
done, Sarah.
The Suriel also tells us that the 7 High Lords are not merely powerful, but they are power.
Dun, dun, dun.
Whatever that's supposed to
The
mean.
Suriel is very dramatic.
Yeah, I feel like it really likes talking. It doesn't even complain about being caught. It's like, oh, you caught me.
But
Make me
that's
free,
my
but-
thing. Here you go.
It kind of just babbles on.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It doesn't feel scary or anything.
I feel like the Suriel might be amused by
Yeah.
this human woman that has captured them right now. And they're like, I guess I can entertain them. Why not? If they made it so far.
It just probably is very insignificant to it. Because it tells Feyre that it's not part of any court, but that it's
Yeah.
older than Prithian and the bones of the world itself.
I am all powerful, ancient, and also I'm fooled by a chicken.
Yeah. And I have a lot of stories. Then her third question is, can there be anything done about the blight? Again, not really an answer that we get
Yes.
this time. It's more of like a suggestion, because the Suriel tells her to stay with Tamlin and not do anything.
Yes.
Otherwise, she would die, which means there can be done something.
Yeah.
Right?
The Suriel also
I guess.
says that, or rather it implies that the blight can't be stopped, but they just say it's too late. And I feel like that can be interpreted in many ways, so that there actually might be something to be done.
I think the way it says it, that it's too late for her, for the High Lord, and perhaps for Feyre's whole realm as well. This perhaps, I think, is very significant in this, because the
yeah.
Suriel doesn't know.
Yeah.
So maybe it cannot see the future. So it doesn't know. It thinks, well, probably, but maybe.
Maybe.
The Suriel raises its hands and goes, maybe.
But then we learn about the origin of the blight.
So there's this island, Highburn. We have already known about it. And
Ireland.
Yes. And this is a purely Fae kingdom. And it's ruled by
And
a
it's a kingdom.
Yeah, yeah. It's ruled by a king, not by different lords, who is sitting on a throne made of mortal bones. So it's Game of Bones.
Do you think that's literal or is it just a metaphor?
I don't know. I can imagine both, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, the blight apparently is some kind of ploy by the king of Highburn, who is not happy with the division of the world and how he had to give up his mortal slaves. And he sent spies over to Prithian to, I don't know, seed unrest or something. And one of his commanders disobeyed him, who is known as the Deceiver.
Cool.
And do you think we have met this Deceiver yet?
I don't think so. I mean, we don't know that many Fae
Yeah.
yet. We know Tamlin and Lucien, and I feel like none of them would be it.
The deceiver is that one guy in the stable with the horse mask.
Yeah. At first, I thought the Suriel was talking about this person who ratted out the Ashwood tree thing.
Same.
But then I made the connection that it has to be later. Like the deceiver had to come after the person who ratted them out.
Yeah, the deceiver did his thing like about 50 years ago when the blight happened. And the person who ratted out the Ashwood tree secret was like 500 years ago. But I also have a prediction.
Me too. But you go first.
Maybe the blight is the result of the deceiver wanting to stop whatever the King of Highburn had planned. And whatever he had planned, he was like, okay, I have to disrupt magic or whatever thing and have to do this thing. And then the blight happened and it's only like the lesser evil or something went wrong and he didn't mean for this to happen. But yeah, I feel like the blight is not like the actual attack that the King of Highburn planned, but the alternative, I guess.
Feels like a good theory.
Well, that's a carefully crafted theory. My prediction is just that Rysand is the deceiver based off of nothing.
I thought the same thing because I was like, I guess he has to show up at some point.
Rysand, the deceiver of Highburn. It's here on the record in episode 7.
So, and then the chapter finishes because Feyre and the Suriel are interrupted by the Naga.
They are attacked by the Faeries of withholding plot information for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
They were attacked by that one Avatar's pet thing. What is it? An iceberg?
Polar bear dog.
Polar bear dog.
Korra's animal companion.
It's called Naga.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, 4 of them arrive, right?
Yeah, so I was like, maybe those weren't mare people, but the Naga. But then the Naga are described as fairies made of shadow and hate and rot. And that doesn't sound like female glistening heads in the water.
Not really.
But what do you think? Who will save her, Tamlin or Lucien?
It feels like a Tamlin ex machina, to be honest.
Because he's currently out in the forest, right?
I mean, he's in a
another
different
part.
forest.
Yeah.
But
I want it to be Lucien.
Yeah.
And I think it would be the logical answer for it to be Lucien because he's waiting for her to be in danger and Tamlin is far away. But judging this book by what has happened yet, I feel it will be Tamlin.
Okay, I think Lucien will come to her rescue, but she will get hurt during it.
Yes.
And then Tamlin comes back and like saves her with magic or something.
And he is
And
mad.
he is so mad that Lucien endangered her.
Yes. That sounds like a good prediction.
or maybe the hands are up. We get a whole different character.
The deceiver.
Rysand,
maybe-
Ianthe, Morrigan.
Maybe Rysand swoops in and saves her. And
He was the
that
horse
would
all along.
He was the horse all along. And that would just take the story in a completely different, unexpected
I
direction.
just had a thought. We haven't heard that Tamlin's father has died, right? We only know he's this mighty warrior who is kind of shitty, I guess, because Tamlin doesn't want to be him.
Yep.
Do you think Rysand might be Tamlin's dad? And be this
I guess.
incredibly powerful, mighty warlord or something?
That could be.
Maybe he's like on his way to visit his son. Doop-de-doo. Let's see what he's up to. What the fuck is this? woman, I will take you with me. Lo, 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 lo.
But if he's like an evil, powerful warlord, why would someone want to sit on his lap?
People
Don't
have
judge.
tastes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I forgot about this playlist.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like if maybe Rysand is the deceiver and maybe he has like a resistance camp somewhere together with Ianthe and Morrigan, and then they come and maybe he's
Ianthe.
like a Robin Hood type dude living in this forest, and that's the whole new direction for this story. I want to read that.
Maybe you should write that.
Yes. And maybe Lucien is in cahoots with them.
Kahoot!
Kahoot.
I don't know.
We will
So
see.
many possibilities.
I feel like I say this every time we end this podcast, that I'm like, now I'm invested. But this time,
This time, I feel like we have big picture plot
Yes.
for like the whole series.
like it started like kind of mellow, but then it like picked up, and Feyre was cool. I feel like I can identify more with her now. Things are happening. I'm really invested now.
We will see. Hopefully, come and join us in 2 weeks. Oof.
Beautiful.
Yes, so if you want to find out too, tune in next time. And you can check us out on Instagram, where we show you some highlights.
Don't say check us out.
Sorry.
It's not 2010. You can follow us on Instagram. We have some great additional content. We have memes.
We have outtakes.
Yes.
At Getting Fae'd Pod on Instagram. And if you liked what you heard here or want to give us some feedback, you can leave some comments, write us a PN, or leave a 5-star review or whatever star review.
Tell us what character you are from your zodiac sign.
Yes.
But don't tell us what that character is if we haven't met them yet.
Yes. So please don't send us any spoilers so this podcasting project can go forth.
Yippee.
Yahoo.
I would also tell someone, go capture a Suriel and tell them to listen to this podcast.
Tell your mailman, because ours interrupted our recording session today, and now he's a big fan.
Tell your best friend, tell your neighbor, tell your pen pal.
Thanks.
And then you can join us next time when we are
Getting Fae'd!